everybody. It's Where You Stuck Wednesday. Lisa Lavender here, Chief Operating Officer of the Restoration Technical Institute. And I'm sporting my own special lavender mask that one of my coworkers' mother-in-law's made for me. And it's very special to me. And anyways, today's Stuck is really interesting. I mean, this is the first worldwide pandemic we've all operated in, and it's really hard to say how it's going to affect our operations today and the challenges we face in each moment as things evolve, and even a year from now. So at this point, we all have to really just do our best, use our instinct, be strong leaders. And this is something that a lot of us may be seeing in our team, and that's a less motivation and seeing our systems break down, from our documentation to scheduling. And we have flexibility in office staff and people working remotely and deploying in different ways. And it's really impacting our best practices, our procedures that make us great, create consistency, and keep the operation running. To complicate things, one of the items that was brought up in the question is that, you know, the benefits that are there to help people through this difficult time and stimulate the economy as well are kind of working against us in some ways, where we don't have people who want to work. And when we have work in restoration, we have to be ready. We're 24/7. We're providing essential and emergency services that people really need. So how do we overcome all these things? And, you know, there's not a real easy answer. And but I do have a couple tips to share. The first thing that I thought of was a quote that really was resonating with me. And my father sent this to me back in 2003. And the funny thing is, as I printed it out immediately because I loved it. Thought it was a great quote. And it sat on my messy desk for many years. And there was a moment, and I remember it, is I was having a difficult time, and it somehow almost emerged by itself. So I'm going to read it to you because I think it really says a lot right now in what we're all going through. It's titled "Is Business a Sport?" and he sent this to me in 2003. The similarities between sports and the business world never cease to amaze me. Joe Dumars, once an all-star player for the Detroit Pistons, is now president of the same organization. In 2003, he was voted NBA Executive of the Year. Dumars is open about his philosophy. When contemplating a player acquisition, he spends endless hours viewing game tapes of players under consideration. He does not necessarily select the best athletes. What he looks for is consistent performance through all types of circumstances. He looks for players who, if their team is far behind late in the fourth quarter, play as hard as when the score is close. He feels you can tell a great deal about a person, seeing how they handle difficult circumstances, and that this is the test of true character. Dumars puts a very heavy emphasis on attitude and heart. He is also quick to take action when a player is resisting the program or not getting along with teammates. It's interesting to note how successful he's been without necessarily the best individual players. His team had the best record in the Eastern Conference. Many were surprised. I was not. So, is business like a sport? You know, consistency and temperament, attitude and performance in tough times. That's what we need in our companies. And it's funny, during these difficult situations, I really see people, I totally agree with that. You see the true character of people, and people who rise above it and, you know, contribute and work hard and care about serving the purpose of your company and helping others when they're in need. And so what can we do to help keep that momentum? Well, at the end of the day, we have to make those tough decisions. And I really think that a goal for our companies is that at any point we're never dependent on one person, and I include that in the owners. I often say I'm proud of the fact that my companies don't depend on me. And that's because everybody's clear on their purpose, their mission, there's process there, and it's bigger than any one person. There's careers and lives that are dependent on the company performing well. So we really want to take a step back and work towards that if we don't already have that, or understand that and be in touch with it, as we may have to make difficult difficult decisions. So one thing is, I definitely keep encouraging everybody, huddle more frequently than others, and gather in a proper space that you can be spaced apart, but talk about things, keep everybody motivated, do things that engage each other, whether it's a fun treat. We're doing a night out for dinner Friday without going out for dinner, so we're serving food and letting everybody pack up a meal for their family so they can kind of relax and have a going out experience without going out. So try to think about little things to keep everybody motivated, but talk about things, the challenges, make sure everybody knows to take care of each other during these difficult times. When you care about each other and you're showing that, and help answer people's questions, that if they have a safety issue, everybody needs to be talking about everything and keeping it front and center. There are good people out there. So if you experience a shortage and in restoration, especially right now, we started out with a challenging year for many because it was a very mild winter for other reasons. And so we have to be prepared to use our resources wisely. We also have to be prepared to respond. I mean, we have years and years of work put into honoring the commitment to be there when people call us, and we have to continue that. We have to look beyond the short term and look at the long term. So again, when we make those difficult decisions and have to say, is this a player on a winning team because they're not following protocol, they're being disruptive to the flow, they're being disruptive to the quality of our work and our reputation, we have to make those tough decisions right now. It's not a time to afford a year of begging people to do their paperwork properly, or execute a job according to the instructions that were given. Everybody's got to be at the top of their game, and let the leaders blossom, because even without titles, this is that time, and I've seen a lot of it, and it's really inspiring when you see people take that leadership and they just evolve and they kind of emerge during these times of crisis. And it's not about one person who can make this happen. It's the team, the leaders, your A players gelling together. People will either rise or they won't. And that's where we have to make those decisions. So we want to look at long term, not just short term. It's not about getting through this week. You will get through this week. We have to, as owners, managers, all the leaders in the company, have to really work hard to stay positive and engage the team in a positive way and be a rock for everybody. It's hard. I've had my moments where I don't think I was at the top of my game. I was leading everybody, and we have to shake it off very quickly because they need us. And the team will feed off of you and your energy, and everything will work out. Another part of the question I got is about if you are operating as an essential business and you're having trouble or getting questioned, make sure your team is equipped with scripts. Hopefully everybody who is operating under the current guidelines in your state. So know those, be able to explain them, be able to articulate what you're doing. With restoration services, whether it's sewage or water losses, it's typically a little bit more cut and dry, although somebody could get questioned at any point. When we're doing emergency type repairs, things may get a little bit more fuzzy, again, depending on what state. But we have structures that are compromised, dangerous, people trying to follow stay-at-home orders in these compromised structures. So just equip your team to be prepared to handle it professionally, not to get defensive if they're questioned or anything, and feel good that we're doing the right thing and that we're using precautionary measures to keep our team safe, our customers safe, and also being able to provide these essential services that people need to function and continue to be safe and not have other issues, whether it's water, mold, sewage, and be exposed to the elements if their home is compromised. So I hope this helps. There's not clear answers here, everybody. These are uncharted territories, but the biggest thing is stay strong, do your best, and think about A players, consistency, and don't be afraid to address the things that need to be addressed. Today, now is the time for peak operation, peak performance, and nothing less. Don't settle for less. Hope to hear from you. More questions for next week's Where You Stuck Wednesday. And the team at RTI is working really hard at providing world-class online training experiences, which takes a little extra time because we want to make sure we're doing it right, well, and that you're engaging. So stay tuned for more on that. Thank you.